For investors, there's a marquee conference which kicks off from today, which is the Motilal Oswal annual investor conference, which is underway. We, of course, got you a preview of what the lineup is last Friday. But let's sort of get into it. Raamdeo Agrawal is chairman and co-founder at Motilal Oswal Financial Services. Raamdeo ji, good morning. Great to have you with us here once again. Last we saw you was with the beautiful Kenyan background. And this is a nice background as well. Hustle, bustle, early morning, conference vibes.
This is completely changed. I mean, I'm really enjoying to be back from Kenya and straight into the conference. I mean, thousands of participants, hundreds of companies, thousands and thousands of meetings. I think this next 3 days are going to be quite intense, and also it will set the tone for me to figure out now that wherever tariffs and all things are. So what's really happening in the real economy, how the companies are taking it, and how hopeful they are about the so-called avalanche of reforms which the government is promising. So I think there is a lot on the agenda, and days are ahead.
Yeah, from lions and cheetahs and giraffes, different kind of crowd, right? But all looking for ideas in terms of different kind of food, stocks as food. Now, but there's so much right on the table. The only thing is, what do you really? It's so many moving parts. There's always moving parts, but I guess this time especially more so. But would you imagine the crux at the end of the day for investors? The bottom line is going to be to find which are the companies where there is a little bit of predictability and sustenance of earnings growth, decent earnings growth in these volatile times. Do you think that's going to be the ultimate aim at the conference?
Yeah, I think Buffett or somebody said, uncertainty is the best friend of the long-term investor. Okay, so right now we are in the midst of uncertainty, and now you need a very clear thinking about how to invest. I mean, in investment candidates, what all you are looking for, and this uncertainty leads to a lot of mispricing of very good stocks because there could be some very short-term challenge of 2-3 months, 4 months. People might come and dump it, and you might be able to get it at 30, 40, 50% cheaper. So what is important at this juncture is to really have a deep thinking and have a very clear strategy. What kind of stocks you like, and are they available now at your prices? So it is quite possible those companies are available at a depressed prices. So this is a great time for the investors. I don't know how good it is for the traders, but definitely a great time for investors for stock picking.
Absolutely, investors can at least apply their mind. Stock prices aren't running away to stratospheric heights, so perhaps it's easier to pick good businesses right now. Thanks for joining in, sir. My question to you is more on one of these big ticket reforms that's almost happening. I mean, the meeting is this week, the GST Council meeting, and it's pretty landmark. I mean, what they're talking about, a lot of items moving to 5%, many moving from 28% to 18%. The market's reaction to it after the initial pop, I mean, after 15th August speech, we had that initial pop, and then the market went a little thanda. Do you think it will eventually start leading to a bigger move around the festive season when the cuts really kick in? Or is the market concerned about something else? And, there's a GST meeting, and then there is a GDP number, which was also very, very good, even if you remove the technicalities aside.
Yeah.
But again, market is a bit thanda. Well, why so?
Yeah, I think it is that this tariff issue is all over. I mean, if you see even the PM's visit, everything is colored. I mean, this visit is also colored with the tariff issue with the America and all. So I think there is too much of right now noise, not so much intelligent argument, but there is a lot of noise about this issue, and everything is clouded by one particular issue. And it's not that this is final forever. There is going to be negotiation, there is going to be a deal, and maybe in next 10-15 days, 1 month, there is going to be a deal between India and America. We are long-standing partners. There will be a deal. What will be the deal? I don't know, but it will be far better than what it is right now. So uncertainty will get cleared at some point of time. So a lot of things are going to happen, but right now that looks to be overriding. It's the nature of the market. They need one headline, and for 10-15 days they'll talk about it, and after that they'll move on to the next one. And whatever happens in the first one, nobody is bothered. So I think as the GST thing comes closer and actually people come to know that 28 is abolished and it has come down to 18%. So you look at some auto companies, particularly where the demand is very sensitive to the price cuts, say like motorcycles particularly, say if it comes down from 28 to 18, I mean you could see massive surge in the demand. But since it has not happened, it is very difficult to figure out whether it will be 20%, 30% jump, or will it be just a muted kind of situation. My sense is if it is honestly implemented from 28 to 18 for motorcycle companies or entry-level car companies, I think automotive will be one of the segments to watch out for in next 1 year. But since it is not done, nobody believes these kind of reforms can happen. I think markets are skeptical, and then on top of it, this tariff thing is also playing out.
Hi Raamdeo ji, good morning, good to see you. And the problem with regard to this Trump's tariff tantrum is that it's become a reality. So that's an issue, right? Because it's hurting sentiment, and I think that will be the single biggest trigger just in the near term to help those animal spirits to come back. But if we don't get clarity, say in the next month and a half or so or thereabout, it'll continue to weigh on the markets, right? Difficult to move up when you have only 10% earnings growth, you have this tariff issue and uncertainty. What is your take, sir?
Yeah, Nigel, it is not about one thing. There is you always get a package deal in the economy. You always get a package deal. You have the GST coming in. You have the government has so many powers of non-financial reforms also. I mean, there can be things on education. There can be things on tourism. There can be things on judiciary, on a home front. I mean, see, it's not everything is linked to just tariff and kind of GST and things like that. So I mean, let's see when the PM comes back in next week from all his tours, what kind of energy he brings in and what kind of avalanche of reforms they unleash. So I would remain a lot more optimistic about how things are going to shape up, even for earnings. You see, just yesterday, all the economists, they are wrong by 1.1% for a quarter. I mean, the GDP grew at 7.6%, where the expected was about 6.5. I mean, consensus was 6.5. Even your biggest of the bank economists, they were at 6.5. And here comes a number which is 7.6. So I think we don't know everything. And this momentum is big. This 7.6 has come without full flow of the credit, without full flow of the fiscal concessions, without full flow of the rate cuts, and now the promises of GST cuts and all. So there are a lot of emanations to counter. If there is anything, of course, 50% tariff, if it becomes long term, it is going to hurt the trade. But the trade itself will find its way, and I think the economy is just not slave to just this tariff. So I think we have to be much more calibrated, and it's a good time that market was a little overpriced. Global markets have run up big time, so we have underperformed in the current year. So now the corrected market, or I would say steady market here, thanks to the massive flow we have, domestic flow, is holding it here, and it is an opportunity for the long-term buyer to look at some of the opportunities.
Mr. Agrawal, just a question, sir. Is the market currently underpricing the positives that we've seen in the last 2-3 weeks? GST cuts, GDP, build up ahead of festive season. Is the market underpricing it because it's in a bit of a negative sentiment state of mind? Or is it right in the wait and watch approach?
No. So we just see the pace at which the foreigners are selling for whatever reason, and domestics are countering that. So if it was not for the domestic flow, you imagine what would have been shape of the market. I mean, if you sell $1 billion in a day, cash, what would the shape of the market? Market cannot absorb that. But just that we have a much bigger flow from domestic. I think last month was a record. In August, DI itself has bought almost 1 lakh crore. I mean, at least that is what the SEBI number is saying, that 96,000 crores have been bought. It's a record in itself that in 1 month we have bought a lakh crore cash. So I think we must not undermine. The biggest force, I would say, are two things. There are two biggest forces. One, the sustained flow of domestic flow and participation. The GDP is rising, and that's my main presentation today. India, the multi-trillion-dollar opportunity. So if you go to the presentation, the GDP is growing, savings are growing, and on top of it, participation is growing. So this combination of both is just explosive in terms of demand for the paper in the economy. Now, just because there is a demand for paper, stock markets are not going to go up. It is going to go up when the economy does well and when the earnings start climbing, which is what we expect in the second half of the year, or particularly the next year. I think we are going to see bumper increase in the earnings by maybe 15, 17, 18%, depending on the slew of reforms which is implemented.
I was just thinking, Raamdeo, I remember when a year and a half back, the situation was exactly the opposite. Local flows were very strong, and FIs were also buying. And then I remember somebody, I don't know who it was, said, well, if this continues, there will be, prices will go berserk. I mean, they won't make any sense because mutual funds will get money, they'll have to buy. You can't sit on the cash, so you need supply of paper. So it's always, I mean, a bit of this, a bit of that, right? I mean, depending on where you are at. So a couple of questions, Raamdeo. One, just to go back to the conference, what are you, apart from your own presentation, who are you most excited to listen to? I mean, just give us 2-3 names or 2-3 sort of, the things at the conference.
So that way, it is designed always. I mean, the organizer, they sit with me and they ask me, quiz me, which are the sectors or what kind of themes you would like to see. So, one of the things I was telling them was about AI. So there is somebody who is presenting from McKinsey about the AI actual impact. How much is hype and how much is the real impact? That's what, because AI is continuously evolving so rapidly, trillions of dollars being spent, and we have no idea from where the earnings are going to come. So is it a hollow hype, like what happened when the internet came first in 2000, and then it leads to a complete collapse? Or is it earnings supported? It is going to have a huge impact immediately on the earnings of the corporates globally also. And hence that trillions of dollar investment is good. So that's one theme. Second is about the real estate. So I think Abhishek Lodha is presenting on that. We are talking about quick commerce. I think Adit Palicha is the thing. So like that, every single slot has been, even, and I think one of the most coveted participants would be our commerce minister, Mr. Piyush Singhal. So Piyush Goyal. So I think so there is all this. I think 16 or 17 CEO tracks have been very, very well curated to represent one issue or other, which is there in the top of the mind of all the investors.
Raamdeo, I think Prime Minister Modi is speaking right now. Stay with us. We're just going to cut across to it and come back.
और नीति 3 मुख्य स्तंभों पर आधारित है। SCO, S security, C connectivity, O opportunity। पहले स्तंभ S यानी सिक्योरिटी के संदर्भ में मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि सुरक्षा, शांति और स्थिरता किसी भी देश के विकास का आधार है। किंतु इस मार्ग में आतंकवाद, अलगाववाद और अतिवाद बड़ी चुनौतियां हैं। आतंकवाद सिर्फ किसी देश की सुरक्षा ही नहीं, बल्कि पूरी मानवता के लिए एक साझा चुनौती है। कोई देश, कोई समाज, कोई नागरिक अपने आप को इससे सुरक्षित नहीं समझता। इसलिए आतंकवाद से लड़ाई में भारत ने एकजुटता पर बल दिया। इसमें एससीओ रेट की बहुत महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका रही। इस वर्ष भारत ने जॉइंट इंफॉर्मेशन ऑपरेशन को लीड करते हुए अल-कायदा और इससे जुड़े आतंकी संगठनों से लड़ने का इनिशिएटिव किया। हमने रेडिकलाइजेशन के विरुद्ध समन्वय बढ़ाने और मिलकर कदम उठाने का भी इसमें मेरे समर्थन के लिए मैं आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। एक्सेलेंसी, भारत पिछले 4 दशकों निर्मम आतंकवाद का दंश झेल रहा है। कितनी ही माताओं ने अपने बच्चे खोए और कितने बच्चे अनाथ हुए। हाल ही में हमने पहलगाम में टेररिज्म का बहुत ही घिनौना रूप देखा। इस दुख की घड़ी में जो मित्र देश हमारे साथ खड़े रहे, मैं उनका आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। यह हमला केवल भारत की अंतरात्मा पर भी आघात नहीं, यह मानवता में विश्वास रखने वाले हर देश, हर व्यक्ति को खुली चुनौती थी। ऐसे में सबसे उठना स्वाभाविक है। क्या कुछ देशों द्वारा
Okay, that's Prime Minister Modi. Important comments coming in from, of course, he's in China and is due to fly back today. We'll, of course, have it on the side of the screen and continue to put out the flashes in terms of what he's saying. Raamdeo ji is with us. Raamdeo ji, you know, those comments coming in from the Prime Minister. Two questions. I mean, so you outlined the themes and the sort of, speaker track list, what you most actually started with AI. So I just have two questions. One, is there a AI play in India? And this is a piece I did some time back. Most large markets have, and this is where global interest is at an all-time high, right? Maybe it's a bubble or not, we don't know. We'll see. But some of, actually, it's just food for thought. Lack of AI plays perhaps also reason for foreigners, lack of interest, enthusiasm. That is one. And second, you began by saying that this is the time to be opportunistic. So is there a watch list for you, and what's on that watch list? Go on.
Yeah. So clearly, I'll tell you one thing. AI or no AI, of course, you need some iconic things to happen in the market for the attention to be drawn for these foreigners. But actually, the sustained high earnings growth rate of about 12-13%, that's sufficient. Whether it comes from even oil companies, whether it comes from steel companies, whether it comes from retail companies, consumer companies, the issue is that we have had a slowdown in the earnings, and the reasons could be many. It could be a slowdown in the credit flow. It could be inflation. It could be high interest rates. I mean, there could be multiple things. It is, for me, I'm not a macro guy to figure out why it happened, but definitely there was a slowdown in the earnings in the last 2 years. Once the earnings growth picks up to say 12, 13%, 14%, I think your P multiple, aggregate P multiple, which is at about 22, that will start coming down, and that will make it. And good thing is that rest of the emerging markets, they are on the boil, and particularly China. So I think the gap between China and India P multiples, which is at about 16 and 22 right now, if that goes down a little more, say we stay 22 or 20, and they come up to 18 or so, I think there will be natural flow of the money into the market from foreigners also. So let's not bother about whether there is an AI play or not. And maybe right now AI plays, pure AI plays in India would be in more of a private equity space, unlisted, very small. They are trying out. If you see today's paper, there are a lot of AI startups which have been encouraged by the government, and awards have been given. So I think we will find our way.
We'll wait for them. We'll wait for them. We'll wait for them.
You have to wait for them. Yeah.
Yeah. And watch list, Raamdeo ji.
Yeah. So I'm looking for, since I don't invest directly, my asset management company, the fund managers, they are looking for the ideas. And the theme of the asset management company at our end is high quality, high growth. So within QGLP framework, they are looking for high quality, high growth companies. And because the moment high quality, high growth comes together, market tends to misprice them. It looks 30p, 40p, but then if the company is growing at 50-60%, I think there is always a potential for them to rise in terms of prices and beat the market. So I think index composition, if you see, is slowly changing. In next 10-15 years, you will see a lot of internet-based companies which are growing at very rapid pace of 50-60%. They will come, despite the fact that they may not be earning today much, but their market caps are high, and they would become prominent contributor to the market caps in the indices, and eventually also very high quality earnings to the index. So I think Indian indices, Indian market is also undergoing change in the changing landscape of the kind of corporates which are going to make money.
Absolutely. Finally, sir, like you've taught us and like how we've learned, there are only two things you need for a bull market. One is strong earnings and the other is obviously strong liquidity, right? So on the latter, I'm just curious that in the conference over the next 2 days, what's the mix of investors like? Is it largely local? And in local, what kind? Is it family offices? Are you anticipating to see some foreign clients as well? What are you expecting from the mix of the investor base? And the questions that they'll probably have, also for the companies. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, it is a very good mix of FIIs. A very large contingent of FIIs are coming from Hong Kong, Singapore, London, from these places. And then on top of it, you have now actually importance of domestic mutual funds is paramount. Our own mutual funds are now, we are talking about 3 lakh crores, 5 lakh crores, 7 lakh crores of equity. So these are the real gods of Indian equities. So we have, of course, they will be fully represented here. And there are hundreds of companies who are coming between 3 days. So they'll all come at different point of time. But I would say the most important segment is the domestic mutual funds, insurance companies, so DII so-called, and then of course good mix of FIs. They are trying to see what kind of mood is here.
Sure.
And we are getting guys from Taiwan and Korea and some far-flung places I have never even visited. So yes, there's a lot of interest from the foreigners. Yeah, but allocations are small compared to what DI can do.
So we're looking forward to the next interview, which will probably happen from these far-flung places in the Far East, right? We'll have another beautiful backdrop with Raamdeo ji and more insights as always.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, and good luck for the conference.
Yeah.
And we'll of course catch you there over the course of the next 2 days.